How's everyone doing? Hey, Jeremy, good to see you. You doing all right? You getting through your classes? Hey guys, thanks for joining. Let me finish getting set up and we'll get started. Let's see. Hi there. Wow, look at everyone. There's Pam. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Day of the Dead coming up. So, let me lower my music. I actually found a soundtrack. Hi, Sakina. Good to see you. I found a Day of the Dead soundtrack on Spotify, so FYI. So, I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so we're doing an IG hop today. So, we're going to different locations. So, I'm on here. I'm going to do a Sugar Skull demo. And then next up we have RLC and a Peasy. And then they're going to do papel picados. And then we also have mini pinatas. And then we're going to end with face painting. So hopefully you'll do some fun stuff and learn some new things. Okay? Let me lower my music a little bit. Yes, so I have, let me introduce myself. I am Professor Michelle Navarro. I am a teacher of history at the Richland campus of Dallas College. And I'm actually the sponsor of the ALA Student Club. I don't know if it's here, it's backwards. ALA stands for Achieving Latino Academic Success. And we have been a club, this is our 10th year as a club. So we like to foster mentorship. We like for students to have a place to go to learn about cultural experiences, learn about their heritage. We like to educate the public as best we can. When we were not under quarantine, we did fundraisers. We try to help the community. We raise funds. So we do a lot of different things. Hi there. Good to see you guys. So many great people have joined. And so the biggest thing that we do is our sugar skulls. And so as you can see, I kind of have a sugar skull obsession. This is not even all of my collection, okay? I just went to the storage unit and I think there's about like 6 plastic bins full of stuff. So, and every year I buy new stuff. But I also have my sugar skull collection, and the students really enjoy making them. And so I took it upon myself to learn how to actually make authentic sugar skulls. Now what they are is here's what they look like. Now some of these people have brought to me over the years. This is actually an authentic one from Mexico, and it's a little bit different in that it's actually compressed sugar. So they actually have a machine that compresses it, and it's really smooth. And honestly, once you make these, they last. Some of these I've had almost 10 years. So if you keep them in a cool place, I really haven't had an issue with bugs or anything. You see them when you put them in storage, plastic bin, a shoebox, something like that, and they'll last a really long time. So they're part of celebrating Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, or Dia de Muertos, depending on what part of the region you're from, is celebrated from November 1st to about November 3rd. Some people might know it as All Souls Day, and it's a way to honor our loved ones. And what I really like about our tradition is that, you have to understand, a lot of people are scared to talk about death. A lot of times we do things in an effort to avoid thinking about death. But what I love, and I learned this from several people and also from a famous artist, that death is the great equalizer. Like, it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor, if you had the Botox, if you had the surgery, if you're a superstar, if you're Beyonce. It doesn't matter who you are. In the end, death comes for all of us. And so this is a tradition and a wonderful way to celebrate and to honor the loved ones that have gone before us. And the reason why I got so interested in it is that I needed a way to process my grief. By the time I was 15, I had already attended my 10th funeral. So when you come from a large family, and honestly, I was a later in life baby. My mom had me in her mid-30s. I lost my grandparents when I was about 6, 7 years old. And it's an experience. And so it was like every year, every couple of years, we were going to a funeral. Some deaths, of course, are from old age. The hardest ones to process are death that are tragic accidents or suicides or young death or, just weird freak accidents. And I wanted a way to remember my loved ones. And rather than trying to remember the anniversary of all the people that have died, because for some reason all the people in my family pass away in August and in April. Those are the 2 worst ones. I always hold my breath. I'm like, please don't let anyone else pass away. And so for Day of the Dead, it's a way you make an ofrenda, you make an altar, and you honor them, and you decorate sugar skulls as a way to kind of, you know, take the sting out of death, like to make fun of death and to say, look, we're not going to be afraid, and we are going to embrace it. And it's also a wonderful way for family to keep you in their memories. And they make huge ofrendas, and they'll make the loved ones' favorite food, favorite drinks, what have you. And it's just an incredible celebration, okay? Now, some of these I've had over the years from doing, we used to do fundraisers, hopefully we'll do it again next year. I had a student that also brought these for me from Mexico as well. And you can decorate them with just about anything. I know with the camera it's kind of hard to see. You can use colored foil for the eyes. You can use icing, royal icing, to decorate, and it hardens rock hard. I have found some shortcuts along the way after doing these for 10 years. As you can see, these are some of my previous students. I use glitter, you know, you can use feathers. I think this one is my favorite too. This is a zombie, so kind of mixing both. Hi Mons, good to see you. So as you can see, a lot of times they get kind of left behind. And there's different sizes as well. There's big skulls, there's little ones. Let me give you a site to look at. It's called Mexican Sugar Skull, singular.com. Pam, or if someone could write it in the comments, Mexican Sugar Skull, altogether.com. That's where I got my molds. Because in the beginning, it was really hard to find anything related to Day of the Dead in terms of making the sugar skulls. But this one lady from California, she actually went to Mexico, and she was in love with the Day of the Dead tradition. And she made her own molds. And so if you go to her website, you can actually order these molds. And you know what? I found them on Amazon as well, and it's the same company that makes them. They're about $14. They can be a little pricey. I know it's cheap plastic, but they will last you for years. I've had these. I've only bought one huge batch one time, and I use them year after year. So, like, this is the large size. You get a front, and then you get a back. Okay, so they're in two separate places. There you go, MexicanSugarSkull.com. Even has the recipe on there. There's even videos. And that's how I learned, just from years of experience of doing this. There's also smaller sizes, so if you have young children, this is a great activity to do with them. So you can do like medium size. That's what this one came out as, a medium size. Okay, and they even have other ones, like they have the Katrina with the little hat. And one year I bought La Virgen de Guadalupe. But let me tell you, she is so difficult to make. That's the other thing, is this art teaches you patience and time, and it will crack. So I'm going to try and maybe reuse her maybe as a chocolate mold instead. So when we have fundraisers, we're lucky if we have 1 or 2 Virgin Marys. And I have some in my office, which of course I can't get to right now because of quarantine. Otherwise, I would show you one complete. Okay. All right, so let's get started. I'm just going to do a quick demo just so you can see the process. Okay. So there's plenty of recipes. I used to buy the 20-pound bag of sugar, and we would just go through it within like half an hour. The ratio for this is 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of meringue, and 1 teaspoon of water, okay? Now the key to this, and I've learned this through that website and through years of experience, you need to get really good meringue powder. I don't know if you can see this, but the product is called CK Meringue Powder, okay? Wilton sells it, and other products sell it like for baking, for bakers, and it does not work. It absolutely sucks. This CK, I had to buy it online on Amazon. It's a little bit pricier, but it is totally worth it. However, I did see while I was doing some research this morning, there is a way to make these with egg whites and just sugar, but I haven't tried that yet, so unless you really want to experiment, you can try that method. All meringue powder is dried egg whites. It's a binder. You need a binder, okay? So I have about 2 cups of just plain white sugar, okay? Nothing fancy, okay? So I'm going to put that in my bowl, all right? And then, like I said, it's 1, 1, and 1. 1 cup of sugar. So for every 1 cup of sugar, you're going to use 1 teaspoon, just 1 teaspoon of meringue powder. And I'm half blind. I hope that's 1 teaspoon. Yes, it is. Okay. So I do, and I don't really do a heaping. Like, this stuff is expensive, so you want to use it sparingly. So I'm going to do 2 teaspoons because I did 2 cups of sugar. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, I have other professors on here that can help you as well and let me know. Okay. And then water, I just use regular water. Now, if you want to color your sugar skull, here's the secret. You have to add your color to the water, not to the sugar. That's the difference, okay? So since I'm only going to use 2 teaspoons of water, I'm just going to put it in here, okay? And I'm going to do green, and if you want a really dark color, you have to use a lot of it, but mostly you get like a nice pastel color, okay? So I'm just going to do just a couple of drops of green, okay? Now, once you do that, okay, I'm going to do my teaspoon again, okay? And I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of water and a second one, okay? And that's really it. Okay, so that's what it kind of looks like. Now, this is where you get your hands dirty. I decided to use gloves this time, okay? And you're going to mix it, okay? And it seems like it's not a lot, but you'd be amazed. The more you mix, eventually all that water is going to absorb into the sugar, okay? So you want the consistency of wet sand, okay? If you've never been to the beach, maybe, I don't even know what would be close to explain that. So you just got to keep mixing. Now, the only other problem is that when you use color, you have to mix it really well. Otherwise, you'll get like little kind of specks of darker color. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, it's a pretty nice, yeah, so don't add the color to the sugar, add the color to the water. That's the secret. And you just got to get your little fingers in there, and you got to get all the little bits that have clumped. Otherwise, you'll get, you know, some just different colors. But if you like that, if that's what you're into, that's totally fine. But you see how light the green is? I don't know if you can even see it on my video. It's a very light pastel. Okay, so it's your water that you have to make, that you have to really darken. Okay, now you take one side of your mold. They usually come in 2, a front and a back, and you just pack the living hell out of it. Okay, so you're going to need more than 2 cups. I'm just doing one little sample. I would say start with a 5-pound bag. That's really the best way to go. And you actually want to overpack it. And this is where some of my students also, they get hesitant or they don't have enough strength. And usually I dread this part because I don't have enough strength in my wrist. So I overpack it. You want to make sure you're getting all those little facial features, okay? And then before I started, I actually pre-cut some pieces of cardboard, okay? This is going to save you a lot of time and effort, okay? So have those pre-cut, save your Amazon boxes, okay? Thank you. I got 4 minutes. I'm almost done. And you're just going to scrape the back. You want a nice solid back, okay? And then I put my back there. I flip it over, and ever so gently, I take off the cover, okay? And voila, that's it. So there you go, okay? And then what I do is I have a little tray over here, and I set it on the tray, and you want it to put it someplace where it will stay dry, and it's going to take time for it to harden. It's going to take about a couple of days. Now, a couple of things. If it's really humid and there's a lot of moisture in the air, it probably will not set, okay? So honestly, if you're in Dallas right now, the last couple of days, yeah, I was hesitant. I'm like, they're really not going to come out. I'll try and see if this one comes out in a little bit. Make sure you also do a matching back. Sometimes when we do them as a club, we have too many heads, fronts, and not enough backs, okay? Keep an eye on them. I actually, when I do them with the student club, I put them in plastic bins, and then I put a lid on them, and that way they dry much slower, and when they dry slower, they don't crack. That's the other thing about these, is that you are going to have ones that are going to completely crack in the middle. That's okay. You break it back into your bowl, you add just a little bit of water, you reuse it. So it's art, it's a sustainable art. I would recommend that you do not eat these, okay? People are always going to ask you, oh, can we eat them? No, this is actually food as art. And I tell them a couple of reasons. One, the meringue powder, it doesn't make it taste good. Second of all, people have had their dirty hands in the sugar. And, you know, that, yeah, you don't want to eat these, okay? So that's my quick little demo. Up next, we have the demo on papel picados. And as you can see in the comments, go ahead and follow RLC and Appeasy. They're going to come up. I'm just going to finish talking until they get theirs started. But that's really it. And then once both sides dry, in about a day, there'll be 2 pieces. There's a recipe on the Mexican Sugar Skulls website. You use royal icing and you glue the 2 halves together. okay? Now before you do that, you have to actually scoop out the middle because it's going to be real heavy, okay? So what you don't see is that these skulls actually are a little bit hollowed out in the middle. So if you go to the website, you look at their video, you'll see that, and then let it dry completely, maybe give it another day after that. You use royal icing and you close them together, and then when that dries, see, this is pretty solid. This is not going anywhere, okay? And like I said, I've had these for years. It hardly ever flakes off. Things you can use to decorate, I recommend puffy paint. Okay, puffy paint is your friend. Now, a lot of people use colored icing, royal icing. Honestly, it's the biggest pain in the ass. And if you have young kids, go to Walmart, go to the dollar store, you can get some puffy paint. You want something that is going to sit on top of the sugar because sugar is very porous. Okay, so if you use like a hot glue or something, it's not going to work. But puffy paint works, although it takes a little bit longer to dry. But also, you can use old nail polish. Okay, it has the same principle. So some of these, like this one, the eyes have nail polish, okay? So those are some things you can try. Again, if you have any questions, you are welcome to always send me a direct message. Please consider joining ALAS. We have a community page on eCampus. You just go in and search for Achieving Latino Academic Success, or you can follow us on our YouTube channel. Same thing, just type in ALAS Student Club, and we will have another check-in next Monday for Day of the Dead. All right, so we're gonna go to our next IG hop, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Monday, November 2nd. I am going to do a Day of the Dead ceremony, show you my ofrenda, talk more about the history of Day of the Dead, and we will honor our loved ones who have passed. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you at the next craft.